Hello, I'm Shalini Verma. It is undeniable that the Earth's climate is constantly changing. Climate change presents a critical challenge for global food security. The farming community is hit the hardest by its consequences. There is a need to build their resilience and ability to adapt to changing climate in a way that they can feed the growing population without further depleting our soil and water reserves. This is why we need climate-smart agriculture. It's not a new technique, it's an approach to identify production systems that can best respond to the impacts of climate change and simultaneously make these systems fit enough to suit local environmental conditions now and in the future. How can this approach help in supporting sustainable development and food security? We discuss it in the show today. And to discuss more on this, I'm joined by scientists from Indian Agricultural Research Institute, Dr. JPS Dabas and Dr. YV Singh. Welcome to the program. Let me first start asking you, Dr. Dabas, is climate smart approach in the agriculture sector a necessity today?
It is very much essential because we have to support our increasing population and we have to provide enough food to the increasing population without compromising with our natural resources, soil, water and everything. And you know, until everybody gets full food, not only in social terms but in actual physical terms also, economical terms also, he should be able to get enough feed to meet his daily requirement, and that is very essential. Only that is possible through climate smart agriculture, because we have to sustain our natural resources in such a way to meet the present demand. We should not compromise with the future of the resources.
One of the key things, Dr. Dabas, is that we often say that we need climate resilient agriculture, but then there is this very smart term called climate smart agriculture. How can one differentiate between the two, and how are the approaches different?
As far as agriculture, this climate smart agriculture or climate resilient agriculture, in climate smart we are using the climate as a very positive way, and we say that we have to adapt as per the climatic conditions. In resilience also we have to do the same thing, but this term is very general and the climate smart term is very particular. So I think climate smart agriculture is much better because we have to think in a different way.
Okay. Dr. Singh, how do you look at the structural changes that perhaps this climate smart approach would certainly demand for, if at all we want to follow it in the agriculture sector?
Climate change is now a reality and it is a worldwide phenomena, and due to that agriculture is facing a lot of problems. But technologies are available which can tackle this problem, which is causing increase in the temperature, then rainfall and other weather parameters are becoming very erratic and drastic, and then greenhouse gas emission is continuously increasing. So there are the technologies which are available which have to be adopted to tackle those problems which farmers are facing nowadays.
That's right. But what are those technologies? If you can just take us through what exactly we mean by following this approach.
Yes. There are a number of technologies. Actually, earlier farmer used to have different type of technological package which they were adopting. Just like rice, they were adopting flooded type of rice cultivation, where flooding was causing lot of methane emission, and then because methane is a greenhouse gas emission gas, so and increase the temperature, and besides water consumption was too much, which is not required for rice. So now two technologies are available, just like aerobic rice or system of rice synthesis, where water consumption can be reduced and then methane emission also can be reduced. Besides, there are other technology also, just like tillage. Earlier farmers' perception was that they have to prepare field very nicely and many time of plowing is required. But now technology says that there is no need to have much tillage. There are other new type of tillage practice like conservation tillage, minimum tillage, where you can have minimum tillage and then get good production also.
Okay.
That way you can reduce the consumption of diesel and petrol, which are also if used much in the agriculture, then increase the global warming also. So that way then they can use conservation tillage, minimum tillage, that way they can get the good production. Besides, there are other now new technology, integrated farming system. That this is the Indian traditional system which was there earlier, but due to the some conditions, change in the socio-economic conditions, farmers now take mono type of cultivation.
Okay.
So there is need to have integration of farming system. They can have different enterprises, and then the output of one enterprise become the resource for other. Just like paddy straw, which is becoming very serious problem in Punjab and other area. Farmers are burning. In many areas, that paddy straw is used as a fodder. So if they can use, and then this fodder availability is also a big problem in many areas. So if there is better planning, then that paddy straw, which is liability for the farmers of Punjab and Haryana and
that can be used elsewhere, because
as a resource.
Yes.
Even farmer can use to some extent, and then in some area where fodder is not available, just like nearby Rajasthan and many areas, that can be transported.
To such places.
So that way the liability or problem of one area become the solution of problem of other area.
But are we really working in that integrated way particularly, or is it just a thought, an idea that we should be doing it on these lines?
Actually, it is not a thought. A lot of work is being done by the research organizations, and models are developed, and farmers also realize that this is the way they can increase their income, and then farm can be sustainable.
Okay, but besides technology, there are also different ways in which the farmers can attune themselves to this new approach, which is called the climate smart approach. How can that be done? What are the possible ways here to move forward in this direction? We'll talk about that. Time for a very short break now in the program. Welcome back. Agriculture is extremely vulnerable to climate change. The negative impacts of climate change are already being felt in the form of reduced yields and more frequent extreme weather events affecting crops and livestock alike. To combat it, substantial investments in adaptation will be needed to maintain current yields and to achieve required production increases. Now, this has been a constant parallel target, the fact that we need to increase our production, we have to feed more people, we have to ensure that we have enough for our population and the ever-growing population. But at the same time, what's really important is to ensure that the farming community is on the same page. Now, there was something very interesting that Dr. Singh spoke about, Dr. Dabas, in the last segment, where he spoke about, the stubble burning, which happens to be a regular practice in states like Punjab. In incidences like this, you really want to know about the awareness among the farmers. Now, the moment we start talking about a climate smart approach, how do you see the farmers responding to something like this, a new idea like this one?
Let me tell you, agriculture is very sensitive to climate. I do agree with you. But certain our conventional practices, they are adding to global warming. As Dr. Singh very nicely told that flooding in rice produce so much methane and other gases also. Same is the case when we are using too much irrigation water. We are extracting this water from very deep, and then we are using the conventional diesel and other sources, and they are also giving lot of greenhouse gases. And same is the case when we are using too much chemical fertilizer. The nitrous oxide gas which is released from the field, that is also a greenhouse gas, and that is also creating a trouble. And another very important issue is that deforestation. That is also responsible for climate change. But we have to think, most of the farmers, they understand the problem and they want to adopt this problem. Why? Because that is much more beneficial, that reduces their cost of cultivation, increase their yield, and the quality of produce is much better. Let me give you another example of this bed planting. in wheat, when we are using this bed planter, we are able to save about 35% water. As very rightly Dr. Singh told, through SRI, we are saving about 30 to 40% water. Not only we are saving 30 to 40% water, but we are also saving certain nutrients, because when the water evaporates or it's leached down in the lower part of the soil, some nutrients are lost. So we are able to conserve those losses also. And when we are talking about this stubble burning and all those things, they are also the source of environmental pollution or greenhouse gases. So we have to reduce this, we have to eradicate the burning of stubbles in the field, and this can be done by adopting several new technologies.
But now, what about the acceptance coming from the farming community?
The farmers are accepting. For example, when we are talking about SRI, so there are so many farmers who are adopting this technology, and same is the case when we talk about zero till.
Okay.
Zero till is becoming very popular in certain pockets of in our country, particularly northern India, and zero tillage is also becoming popular in eastern India also. And through zero tillage, we are saving a lot of money on the tillage, and not only we are saving a lot of money on the tillage, but we are also saving other resources also, and farmer can get better yield.
Can we have a one-size-fits-all theory approach here? The fact that different climatic conditions exist in different parts of our country and they would need specific approaches. Are there some interesting models here, Dr. Singh, that we can reflect upon and see that farmers have really gone ahead and implemented those things on their fields?
Yeah. Actually, over the years, India is having very diverse conditions. So area to area situation varies, but it is a fact that in most of the areas, the soil organic carbon has reduced drastically, especially in the green revolution area, Indo-Gangetic plain area. Organic carbon level has been reduced from 0.5 at the time of green revolution starting to 0.2 to 0.25. So which is creating very serious problem, and for that all the farmers have to increase the organic carbon level in the soil. And for that the farmers' traditional practice of composting is also a big problem, because the method they follow is the open type of composting, which is still popular in many part of the country. But now technology are available like biogas, for which Dr. Dabas is the expert, he will be telling, because in open, when we are composting, lot of methane is emitted and going to the atmosphere and contributing to the global warming.
Right.
So if it can be properly composted and it can be used in biogas, so that energy, it can be used as energy. So, and then slurry can be used as a resource for increasing the composting or increasing the organic carbon level of the soil. Besides, there are other type of compost also which can be
So if one has to understand this approach in totality, we are talking about increasing the yields, putting less pressure on the existing resources, ensuring that there is less emission that happens through our agricultural practices, and at the same time the farmers get their benefits of farming.
Actually that is the climate smart agriculture, where we have to reduce the emission of global warming gases like methane, carbon dioxide, and then one side. And other side, we have to use the technology where emission is less, and the technology can adopt in the even existing climatic condition also.
One of the key things here is to see, Dr. Dabas, that how can local institutions be of help? I mean, I'm talking about small bodies. I'm talking about panchayats particularly involved here, ensuring that there's more awareness spread among farmers. How do you see that? Because is that also part of this network, this approach?
You are very correct. Actually, the participatory approach is the right approach when we can transfer technology to a particular area. Otherwise, when bottom-down approach is there, most of the farmers that doesn't adopt a particular technology, or if they are adopting for a very short time. But when we are having the participatory mode, where we involve Krishi Vigyan Kendra, where we will involve the Gram Panchayats, where we involve the farmers, producer organizations, and with them, when we are talking about this conservation agriculture or the climate smart agriculture, then the impact is much important, much more, and that is much more lasting also. And most of the farmers, they are coming forward, because whenever we are talking about a new technology, we need to have some support system. who can help them in getting that particular technology, the imports and other things, and who can help them, guide them how they have to use it and how they have to manage it. And when we are talking about climate smart agriculture, actually we have some crop, we have to have introduce some crop diversification also.
Right.
Because there are
Very
certain
important.
crops
Yes.
which require less inputs and give better yield, or if not, they are not giving better yield, they contain more amount of nutrients which we need. That's like when we are talking about millets. Millets are such crops which require less these resources, and these millets are very rich in our nutrients and all those things. So, and another case is when we are talking about the duration of crop. We have certain varieties which require such a big period, and there are some other varieties, they are giving the equal yield, but the duration is much less. When we are using the short duration varieties, we are able to save water, we are able to save the resources, other resources also, and we are able to save this particular time. In this particular time, we can have some green manure crop. And when we are using the green manure crop, again we are maintaining the soil health. When we are maintaining the soil health, we are getting much more benefits.
How do you see the fact that some of these schemes indeed are also supported by the states, their governments? You know, good subsidies are provided in order to establish a certain thing or switch to drip irrigation or have biogas plants. How does it really help the farmers? Do you see more awareness in the farming community around these issues to approach the state government, have such things installed in their small farms or in their big farms? Do you see that really happening?
Now it is become very, very nicely in Punjab, in Haryana, in Rajasthan, and in several other states, particularly in Bihar. These things are picking up very fast. And these are the things which our country needs very badly.
Yes.
When you are
and
talking about
they are also
irrigation,
the places where there is always water deficiency.
Yeah.
There are water related concerns.
Because we have a lot of water.
Yes.
But we are not able to consume this water in a proper way. Or whenever we are getting too much rain, we are not able to harvest the water. So the water harvesting, water use efficiency we can increase by adopting the new technology, particularly drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, and micro irrigation. All these things are helping in enhancing the water use efficiency.
It is more or less a sort of convergence here between the organic and the scientific farming too. So it's parallelly happening and ensuring that farmers get the maximum of their fields, right? So we'll take a very short break now, and after this break, we will look at the conclusive part of this discussion, where we explore as to what are the financial ways in which such an approach can be supported. Welcome back. Agriculture is also a major part of the climate problem. It currently generates nearly 20 to 30% of the greenhouse gases. That percentage could rise substantially if action is not taken now. Dr. Singh, one of the key things about the adaptation approach will be to see that we are able to finance these technologies, this adaptation process, and ensure that it lasts, not just for now, but with changing times and even for future. How do you see the streamlining there happening on the financing front?
There is a lot of efforts by the government also, but because agriculture is state subsidy, most of the subsidies and the financial support is coming through state government. But there are many programs which are there and which really support the climate smart agriculture, like there are many programs by the state governments that they should go for drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, which reduce the application of water, and then integrated farming system also being supported by the government, and they provide those technologies are being taken by the farmers.
And do you see that even happening in the livestock sector, in the fashion, the dairy, the fisheries, and the other areas too? Do you see that?
Yes. When we talk about integrated farming system, livestock are the most important part of the system.
Okay.
And there is a lot of support, and farmers are most of the farmers, especially Indo-Gangetic Plain, are well aware about the importance of livestock in the system, because that is their life support system. When crop or anything fails, livestock supports. Even Rajasthan, that type of condition, livestock are their main support system. So those farmer realize, and from government side also there is a lot of support to improve that system also.
So at the heart of it, Dr. Dabas, is the issue of ensuring food security to all, isn't it?
Yeah,
we are actually looking at that when we speak of all these technologies and the new ways and very efficient ways of farming. We are actually looking at addressing the issue of food security.
Food sustainability and food security. And as you know, the sport is not only from a policy side, even research system also is doing a lot of work, particularly we are evolving the variety for a particular type of system. For example, for zero tillage, we have different varieties which can give much better yield. And for the same case, when we are talking about the bed planting and other technologies are concerned, there also we are evolving the variety as per the requirement of that particular technology. Even for SRI also, there are certain varieties which are giving much better yield. So this support is coming from all the ways. It is from government side also, research system also, and even the farmers group organization or some NGOs. They are also doing wonderful work in transferring the technology to the farmers or demonstrating the technology to the farmers, and now the farmers are adopting it and they are taking benefit of it. And when they are adopting these particular technologies, their cost of production is reduced, so they need less money and they are getting more because the yield is remain either go up or they are much better or the same. But the cost of production is major in particular this type of things all there. And one more thing, they are able to make use of their natural resources.
Yes.
Because whatever the byproduct they are getting from the dairy or the farm sector, this animal sector, they are using in the farm as an input. And whatever this byproduct they are getting from the crop side, that is being used as input for the dairy sector.
Are there any specific issues in India on agriculture which also parallelly need to be addressed? The fact that we often speak of the agricultural land, whether it's shrinking, whether farmers are really ready to quit farming, or the fact that the amount of food that is being produced, a good chunk of it is also wasted because of the storage and other issues. Do you see that parallelly we have to look at all these issues to the moment we speak of a sustainable future?
Yeah, you raise very important question. Actually, India is one of the country where wastage of post-harvest produce is the highest. India is almost wasting almost 40% of the produce which after harvesting. So if we can save that, even 20% if we can save that, that can be added into the productivity of the system. So our system, our policy makers have to think seriously how we can reduce the losses so that we can increase the production level. So this is one important thing. Beside other thing, farmer have to realize that climate change is a reality and they have to do the agriculture differently. Old practices have to change, new technology which are climate smart have to be adopted, and that is possible, and many farmers are adopting, but it is the need of the hour where we can tackle the global warming problems and then have a sustainable productivity of the crop, or not only crop, overall other livestock and the total system.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me in the program. Food security depends on how we treat our planet. Let us make sure that our agriculture is productive and sustainable for generations to come. You can write to us and share your views with us on our email ID. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.